All right, my friends, we are live and we're going to get into today's presentation, which is going to be all about 5 ways to lose more weight, more fat loss on keto. Has just begun. I'm putting together over 16 years of research and experience and knowledge working with thousands of people all across the world. And I put it together in a presentation for you today on 5 tips that I believe is going to maximize your health in 2024 to get you incredible results on keto. So first and foremost, if we're meeting, my name is Ben Azadi. I'm the best-selling author of Keto Flex, the founder of Keto Camp. And we're on a mission to educate and to inspire 1 billion people and to reverse type 2 diabetes in 1 million people. So let's get into the presentation today, and then I'm going to open it up for question and answer later on. As you can see, I have 5 tips for you. At the end of the presentation here, I put together some example meal plans for fat loss. I'm going to give you 2 options for breakfast, 2 options for lunch, 2 options for dinner. And this is going to help you have more energy. It's going to help your hormones become more balanced and optimized. And of course, fat loss is going to be a side effect. So always remember this. Fat loss and weight loss is a side effect of good health. Fat loss and weight loss is a side effect of lowering cell inflammation. So although this video is about fat loss, it's more so about health. And then the side effect will be the result of weight loss. I hope that makes sense, but let's get right into this. Okay, when we think about how this is going to help you, I mean, I've worked with thousands of people all across the world. You can see even type 1 diabetics like David. I know you can't read the text, but he says, I'm so grateful for Ben. You know, he can't really reverse type 1 diabetes, but he's relying less on insulin. He lost a whole bunch of weight, has more energy for his family. We have Diana who lost 37 pounds. She went from a size large to a size small. Everything has improved. You can see her before and after. So these are some examples of what you should expect in a short amount of time when you follow these tips. And we have Jasmine, in just 7 days, she lost a whole bunch of puffiness from her face. Pounds came off her body. We have Jasmine, who had a starting weight of 262 pounds and went down to 212 pounds. She lost 50 pounds and her blood sugars have dropped as well. So these are hopefully inspiring you, because what you just saw with these examples is exactly what I'm going to share with you today. Okay, first tip. Keto tip number 1, remove these specific keto-friendly foods causing inflammation and weight loss resistance. You know, just because something is considered keto-friendly does not necessarily mean it is health-friendly. The great news about keto, you know about it. It's mainstream. So many people know about it. The bad news about keto, it's mainstream. So many people know about it. But here's the thing. There's nothing new about keto. It's nuanced. And with that nuanced version, we see different variations of keto out there promoting really inflammatory ingredients. So let's uncover 2 of the most popular ones out there in the keto space and why we have decided in our community, our Keto Camp Academy, to remove these, which have accelerated results. Tammy, good to see you. Happy New Year to you. Okay, this might surprise you, but 2 of the main ones we want to remove on keto, or if you're not doing keto, are spinach and almonds. Allow me to explain why. You know, these 2, and I would throw kale into the mix here too. So spinach, kale, and almonds. What these all have in common, they have high amounts of an anti-nutrient called oxalates. Now, they've taken these plants, like spinach and almonds, and they've looked at it with a microscope, and they found these tiny crystals called oxalates embedded into spinach, embedded into kale, embedded into all other foods I'm going to show you on the list shortly. The problem with oxalates, you can see they're tiny little crystals that actually rip open your tight junctions, create intestinal permeability, create inflammation at the gut level. And Hippocrates said a long time ago, all disease begins in the gut. He made a good point. Even in 2024, we agree to that. And look, there are other anti-nutrients that we want to avoid. We can see nightshades, lectins, tannins, etc. I'm focusing on oxalates because I think out of all of the anti-nutrients out there, oxalates are the most detrimental out there. So we know that when you consume a lot of oxalates, spinach, almond, kale, and others that I'm going to show you in a second, it creates something called leaky gut. For those watching here, have you ever heard of leaky gut? I would estimate that 90% of the adult population in the world has leaky gut. And allow me to explain why this is a problem. You see, inside of your intestines, your gut microbiome, you have a physical barrier called the mucosal barrier. And you have these tight junctions within your digestive tract. They're supposed to be tight and closed. When they start to leak open, when they start to get holes in them from like oxalates and toxins, now it creates a condition called leaky gut. That means we eat food, and the food particles that we eat, it could be the healthiest food in the world. It's supposed to stay within that mucosal barrier. When it's tight and closed, it stays within. When we have intestinal permeability, holes in our gut, then the food particles seep through the intestinal lining and it goes into your bloodstream. The immune system sees this in the food particles in your bloodstream and it says, whoa, you don't belong there. Let's activate the immune system and let's take care of this foreign invader that's not supposed to be in the bloodstream. Now, this happens from time to time. That's fine. The immune system could handle it. But when we have chronic leaky gut, now all of a sudden the immune system gets confused. And if we keep leaking food and particles, essentially poop, into our bloodstream, now the immune system gets confused and it starts tagging things like avocados and eggs as an inflammatory foreign substance. And then we become sensitive and allergic to healthy food. So if you take a food sensitivity test, you might have done that before, you see a whole list of things there. That's because of this overwhelm of the immune system because of leaky gut. And if this doesn't get resolved after 5, 10, 15 years, it turns into autoimmune disease. There are over 100 autoimmune diseases and an additional 40 associated with them, and it all starts right here. Oxalates are a big culprit here. I would say environmental toxins are number one. Oxalates might be number two. We also know kidney stones are a result of accumulated oxalates in the body. I've never had a kidney stone, thank God, and I plan on never having one, but I hear it's very painful. And one of the major contributors to kidney stones are accumulation of oxalates. Oxalates also create joint pain and muscle weakness. If you have joint pain, knee pain, shoulder pain, chances are you've accumulated these oxalates from the foods I've outlined. So what we want to do is we want to replace almonds, which are high in oxalates, very popular in the keto space, almond flour, almond bread, almond this. We want to replace them with nuts and seeds, primarily nuts, that have a better nutritional profile, less oxalates and less anti-nutrients. So this is the list I would recommend. First tip for you, remove almonds, replace them with walnuts, pecans, Brazil nuts. Make sure you don't have too many Brazil nuts. You don't want too much selenium. Pili nuts, which if you don't know what pili nuts are, highest fat, lowest carb nut in the world. Go check out Pili Hunters if you want to learn more about them. And macadamia nuts. Personally, I go to macadamia nuts and pili nuts. Then swap out spinach with arugula, dandelion greens, bok choy, broccoli, and Brussels sprouts. I will say the safest one here is arugula. It's usually my go-to unless I'm doing carnivore. Next. Oxalates are also, they're considered an anti-nutrient. As you can see, they bind to minerals. I'd even mention that. So it prevents your body from absorbing minerals. Look, minerals are needed for every cell in your body to function properly. Your cells to produce energy, which helps you burn fat. It's mineral dependent, and the liver is very mineral dependent. Oxalates, chelates, they pull out minerals from your body. That's not good. It'll cause fatigue and a whole host of issues. So here are a list of high oxalate foods that you might want to also consider avoiding in 2024, at least for the next 30 days, see how you feel. Look, I know this. If you make this first change here, you're going to notice results in the next 7 days. you might notice results in the next few hours, 24 hours doing this. So beets are high in oxalates, raspberries, dark chocolate, cacao powder, buckwheat, a lot of soy products, spinach, I mentioned that, potatoes and yams, wheat bran, black tea, beans, rhubarb, nuts and seeds. There's some things you can do to break down these anti-nutrients. For example, if you have beans, you could pressure cook them. If you have nightshades like tomatoes, you could skin them, excuse me. So there's ways to do that. So that's your first tip. Tip number two, again, don't shoot the messenger here, but pasteurized cow dairy. How many of you drink milk or eat cow cheese? Check this out. This study showed that 75% of the population in the world, not just in here in the United States, but 75% of the population in the world cannot process cow dairy. It says approximately 75% of the world's population loses its ability at some point, while others can digest lactose into adulthood. The problem is the pasteurization. So I would suspect if you're having a lot of cow dairy and you feel inflamed, you feel like it's hard to lose weight, I would suspect this is a problem for you. There's some good news. Now, what about raw dairy, Ben? Can raw dairy be okay? Yes, it can in moderation. But I would say a better swap for you, this is what I personally do and what I recommend to our Keto Camp Academy students. A better swap for you is to get rid of the cow dairy and swap it out with sheep dairy and goat dairy. So sheep cheese, goat milk, etc. Using macadamia nut milk instead of almond milk, instead of whole using coconut milk as well is a good option there. You know, the cool thing about incorporating more sheep and goat dairy contain 30% medium chain triglycerides. Why is that significant on keto? Well, medium chain triglycerides help your body produce more ketones, which helps your mitochondria duplicate, helps your mitochondria produce more energy via ATP, which raises your basal metabolic rate. You just feel better. You know, when we think about the blue zones out there, there's a lot of problems with those blue zone documentaries and diets out there, but what a lot of them have in common, they eat a lot of goat and sheep cheese. Coincidence? I'm not sure. All right, next, number three. Avoid these very specific. I'm going to give you 9 of them. Keto fats. As I mentioned earlier, just because it's keto friendly does not make it health friendly. And there are 9 keto fats that are really, really bad for you. I interviewed Dr. Kay Shanahan. If you don't know Dr. Kay Shanahan, she is a medical doctor. She is a New York Times best-selling author, and she was the nutritionist for Kobe Bryant and the Los Angeles Lakers. Really smart woman and a dear friend. I've had her on my Keto Camp podcast 3 times. Go listen to the episodes. They are amazing. And I asked her the question. I said, Dr. Kate Shanahan, out of your many, many years of research and your authority out there, if I gave you 3 scenarios, and let's say we think about disease, cancer, heart disease, diabetes, autoimmune, obesity. Out of these 3 scenarios, Dr. Kate Shanahan, which scenario will lead to disease faster? The first scenario, Dr. Kate, smoking cigarettes every day. The second scenario, Dr. Kate, eating processed sugar every day. And the third scenario, Dr. Kate, eating vegetable oils every day. What do you think she said? She actually laughed and said, that is an easy question, Ben. Hands down, the vegetable oil. She said, look, smoking cigarettes is not good for you. The cigarette smoke is not really accumulating in your body fat and she also made a point that, yeah, look, processed sugar in excess, not good for you. But what happens after you get a big glucose spike from eating processed sugar? After a few hours, it's back down. Damage has been done. These vegetables, I'm going to give you a list of 9 of them, so write them down. These vegetable oils, they enter your body and they get stuck around your cells and your cell membrane for 2 to 5 years. Oh, I pressed the wrong button here. 2 to 5 years. Let me explain this to you real quick. Every cell in your body has an important function, okay? You have your DNA, you have your mitochondria, and then you have this cell membrane, all right? You have 70 trillion cells in your body. Some people say 30 trillion, some say 70, so let's say somewhere in the middle there. But the membrane is so important because the membrane, which is this, oops, which is this right here, cell membrane, this is where the intelligence of your cells are. Not your DNA, but the membrane. Write this down in your notes if you're taking notes. If you're taking notes, I'm very impressed with you, and I love that. Life begins and life ends in the cell membrane. You know, Dr. Bruce Lipton has looked at cells because a lot of scientists believe your genes are where life begins and ends, and your genes are your destiny. That's old. Dr. Bruce Lipton has proven that you could remove your DNA nucleus from a cell, and the cell would still go on to function for months just fine. But if you remove the cell membrane, there is instant death. That membrane is so important to allow hormones to connect into your cells, to burn fat, produce energy. Nutrients, supplements need to connect to the cell membrane. And then your cells produce toxins. Toxins produce free radicals, and that needs to exit the cell. But here is the problem. When your cells are inflamed, your cells do not allow good things in or bad things out. When there's cell inflammation, good things can't get in, bad things can't get out. That's where disease develops. So Dr. Kate Shanahan and other researchers have shown that vegetable oils end up in that membrane, and the half-life is 680 days. Meaning, if you stop eating them today, 680 days later, it will still be around that cell membrane creating inflammation. That's why she believes, and I agree with her, that these vegetable oils are worse than smoking cigarettes and eating processed sugar. So you ready for your list of them? Let's do this. Here's a list of the oils you want to avoid as much as possible, okay? Look at them. Write them down. Canola oil. Canola, oh, you can't really see the laser. Canola oil, what's called rapeseed oil in the UK. David, you know that. Corn oil, soybean oil, cottonseed oil, safflower oil, peanut oil, sunflower oil, grapeseed oil, and rice bran oil. And then we had fish oil. More on that in a second. These are called polyunsaturated fatty acids. Poly means many. These fats have many double bonds that are closely located to each other in their chemical structure, which aggressively attracts oxygen and oxidizes. If I bit into an apple and left it on the counter and came back 5 hours later, it turns brown. That's what these vegetable oils are doing to your cells. So we want to swap out polyunsaturated fats with mono and saturated fats. This is a list. These fats, you cook with them, you use them for salad dressings and dips. These fats you see right here on the screen will help you burn fat, will help you lower inflammation, it'll help with energy level. This is how we get healthy in 2024. These fats right here is what you want to cook with. Primarily, when we talk about cooking, animal fats are best. So butter and ghee, duck fat, lard, and beef tallow, that would be best cooking. But when we think about salad dressings and dips, then we can use things like avocado oil, olive oil, coconut oil, etc. That's the swap for you. Now, when I go to restaurants, we actually get this card for you. If I could find it, I think I placed it somewhere in my office here. But when I go to restaurants, here's what I do. I tell the server, I say, hey, I'm allergic to vegetable oils. I'm allergic to these seed oils here. Can you cook my food in healthier options? And they always listen to me because I say I'm allergic instead of a preference. So I created something called the seed oil allergy card. The seed oil allergy card you can get for free. Either scan this or go to seedoilcard.com, and it shows, hey, chef, I must avoid the following fats to avoid allergic reactions. And it lists the bad fats. Please use these instead. It lists the good fats. And you want to download it as an image. It's my gift to you. If you're watching on TikTok or Instagram, it's on my link profile. So seedoilcard.com is where you get it, or you could scan the image here. All right, next, fish oil. And I thought fish oil was good for me. My cardiologist recommended it. Dr. Amen recommends it. This person, Dr. Hyman, recommends it. Fish oil should be good for you. No, omega-3s, we need it. Man, what are you talking about? Okay. Studies show 83% of fish oil is rancid on the shelf before you even consume it. 83%. Let's say it's the good 17% of companies that do it the right way. They have cold processing. They do things the right way. Even the best fish oil in the world goes rancid once you consume it. Fish oil is essentially antifreeze for fish. The human body is 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit, pretty warm. Fish oil needs to be stored in a really cold environment. When that fish oil enters your warm body temperature, mixes with stomach acid, it takes this fat that might have been healthy in the bottle if they did it the right way, and it turns it into a PUFA, a bad fat, an inflammatory fat like the vegetable oils I just showed it to you. Not good. I'm going to show you a study here that showed consuming fish oil created cell membrane inflammation for 4.5 months. I just made the case that membrane is so important. Here's the study. 21st century warning. It takes 18 weeks to reverse the negative effects of the incorporation of EPA and DHA, fish oil, into the cell membrane. This is called the Iowa screening experiment. That fish oil is not good. So what do we do then? Where do we get our EPA and DHA? You actually don't need that much EPA. According to the National Institutes of Health, a 6 foot man, a 6 foot tall man like me, 6'2", who has a bigger body and a bigger brain, requires about 7.2 milligrams of EPA and DHA each day. One capsule of a typical fish oil has 1,000 milligrams of EPA and DHA. That is a super physiological overdose. Fish oil causes a lot more problems than it does to help anybody. So instead of taking fish oil, you could take a quality plant-based omega that gives you the derivatives for EPA and DHA. Your body could actually make its own fish oil. I don't know if you knew that, but it can when you give it the building blocks. So I use Pureform. You can learn about them over at purelifescience.com. I have a coupon code with them, which is Ben4. But eat the fish. Wild caught, just eat the fish once or twice a week. You'll get enough EPA and DHA. You don't even have to sell. All right, we have another tip here. 4, and then I have a 5th one, and I'm going to give you examples of some keto meal plans for fat loss. Hope you're enjoying this so far. If you're watching on YouTube, give me a thumbs up in the chat box. Happy New Year to you all. Let's continue on with the next tip here. Support this very important organ for detox, fat burning, and fat breakdown. This organ I call the soccer mom organ. It says, I'm so happy and grateful. Now that this organ is the soccer mom organ. And I say that in a very respective way for soccer moms, because soccer moms, they do so much for their family. We rely on them for so much. They do all these different things. I don't know how they do it. It's incredible. It's kind of like the same way. It's like the soccer mom organ does so many things for us as well. It is the soccer mom. You nailed it. Uh, Tabletop Todd, you nailed it. The liver. It's about 4.5 pounds right here on the right side of right above the rib cage here. And it does so many things for us. Fat loss, detoxification. But as it relates to keto, it breaks down fat. We're eating more fat on keto. We want to break it down. We want our body to use it so we feel good. Most people have a liver that is sluggish from alcohol use, toxins, processed carbohydrates. And what ends up happening, keep in mind, I've been teaching keto and fasting since 2014, but I've been in the keto space since 2008. And one of the biggest reasons why I see people feel bad on keto is because their liver cannot break down the fat. It'll lead to energy issues on keto. It will lead to constipation, diarrhea, not feeling well. So what is the solution? Here's what we teach our Keto Camp Academy students. Bitters. Hey, look, if you're watching this with me in the chat box, let's say this together. Type it in. Bitters for the liver, or bitter for the liver. That's even better. It flows nicer. Bitter for the liver. Here's a list of my favorite bitters. These bitters stimulate that soccer mom organ to produce bile, B-I-L-E, which just is a detergent to break down fat. The gallbladder stores that detergent, but the liver produces it. So ginger, dandelion greens, dandelion tea, artichokes, coffee, organic coffee. I just had mine this morning. Radishes, lemons, and limes, radicchio, cranberry. The cool thing about basil, thyme, and rosemary, you could season your meat with it, but you could just smell those herbs and it will actually help produce those enzymes. Cilantro and parsley, same thing. Apple cider vinegar is a keto powerhouse. Sally, I love it. I just had my purity coffee. That's right, Shannon. Good to see you, Shannon. Good to see you, Rachel. That is right. Bitter for the liver. Bitter for the liver. Igadin, good to see you here on Instagram. And then we have Brenda. Good to see you. Peggy, I love it. I love it. Everybody, we're on the same page here. Good job. All right, so that's the list. You want to consume that. Before I get into the final tip and then some example meal plans for weight loss, we got a huge announcement for you. In a few days, Monday, January 8th, we're going to put together this 5-day experience for you where we have Dr. Eric Berg. How many of you know Dr. Eric Berg, the knowledge doc? He's got over 11 million subscribers on YouTube. Chances are you follow him. We got Cynthia Thurlow, nurse practitioner of over 20 years, a great friend of mine, author of The Intermittent Fasting Transformation, viral TEDx talk with over 12 million views so far. We have Alina Nazari, COO of the Keto Camp Academy. She teaches at Go Happy Belly as her Instagram. She's also a health coach, and she's helping out right now with the live stream chat. We have Coach Becky Niles, who's a circadian rhythm expert, thyroid expert, carnivore expert. So they're both part of the Keto Camp team. And Jonathan Chain's a part of the Keto Camp team. He's going to talk about customizing keto. He focuses on endurance and women's health, etc. So for 5 days, we're going to take a deep dive into keto, into fasting, into carnivore. We're going to discuss how to reverse conditions like insulin resistance, high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, autoimmune disease, brain fog, etc., long COVID. And we're going to go live every day for an hour and a half. We're going to teach. We're going to have special guests. And we're going to be giving away over $20,000 in free prizes for those who join. 6 months worth of coffee, exogenous ketones, supplements. We're giving away a 1-year membership to our Keto Camp Academy with a whole bunch of bonuses. Like that alone is worth $17,000, by the way. And it's all free. All you have to do is go to ketocampchallenge.com. If you're watching on Instagram, if you're watching on TikTok, you can just go to the Linktree link in my bio and you'll see free 5-day keto challenge. Put your name and email and you're good to go. Ketocampchallenge.com. We would love to see you there on Monday. It's going to be incredible. Our challenge with us in the past. This one is going to be a brand new curriculum. It's going to be a game changer. I hope to see you on there. Go to ketocampchallenge.com. It's going to be absolutely incredible. We start Monday, January 8th, and we go all the way to January 12th. You can join from anywhere in the world. There's no charge. We give you a link, a private Facebook group to watch the live stream, and we give you homework assignments each day. All right, tip number 5. Stop doing these 5 things in 2024. Look, it's cool if you want a physical six-pack. What's even more important is a mental six-pack. And these 5 tips is going to help you. They're going to help you develop that. So number 1, stop saying I'm going to try that, and just start doing it. That word "tried" is a bad word in our community of Keto Camp Academy, because when you say I'm going to try something, you're kind of just setting yourself up for quitting when it gets tough. Trying is failure with honor. Who wants to fail with honor? But when you say, I'm going to do it, I'm going to do whatever it takes, that's a different mentality. There's a lot more power in saying, I'm going to do it versus I'll give it a try. Simple swap, that goes a long way, which goes hand in hand with the second tip here. Stop being interested in being healthy. Stop being interested in your goals and start to become committed. Ken Blanchard said there's a difference between being interested and being committed. When you're interested in something, you do it until it's not convenient, and then you give up. When you're committed, you do whatever it takes and you accept nothing except results. There's no such thing as being mostly committed. There's no such thing as being 95% committed. Either you're committed or you're not. Either you're pregnant or you're not. There's nothing in between. So when you say, yeah, I'm interested in doing that, it goes back to tip number one. You're setting yourself up for failure with honor. Who wants that? Number three, this is something that I struggle with. Stop comparing yourself to others. Just hashtag beat yesterday. Put it in the chat box, everybody, right now, watching this live or the replay. Hashtag beat yesterday. There's a great book called Gap in the Game. Gap in the Game by Dr. Benjamin Hardy and Dan Sullivan. Essentially, it says when you're in the gap, you're going to be more unhappy, frustrated, unhealthy, because you're comparing yourself versus a crazy goal you have or other people. But when you're in the game, you're happier, you're healthier, you're gaining momentum because you're focusing on your prior best, previous results. You're beating yesterday. The only you compare yourself to is the person in the mirror. It's the actions you took yesterday, the thoughts you thought yesterday. So when you compare yourself to other people in any area, you really are setting yourself up for unhappiness. Comparison is what? The thief of joy. It is true. Yesterday, I love it, Tiff. I love it. Yes, Sally. Yes, Rachel. Yes, Shannon. Let's go. Yes, you have been a Keto Camp Academy student, Shannon, since 2019. You're one of the originals. I love it. Julie, Monica. Hey, good to see y'all. Okay, we're on the same page. Let's go. Number four, stop watching the news or opening up a book or listening to a book. I learned something very valuable. One of the most important things I've learned over my lifetime, I actually made a post about this today, is that our thoughts determine the actions we take. So let's unpack this real quick. The thoughts we think communicate with our DNA. The thoughts we think can communicate with our DNA. So when you think about this, thoughts are signals. Thoughts are frequencies. The frequency those frequencies communicate with our DNA, with our body, right? So, this is my, happy face right there. Your thoughts communicate with your body, your DNA. And when that happens, the signal that's in your DNA creates certain proteins. The thought will determine the proteins created. Now, if it is a inflammatory thought, if it's a hateful thought, so hate, anger, resentment, what ends up happening is the thoughts that are communicating to your DNA creates inflammatory proteins. But if those thoughts are love, abundance, health, etc., now the thoughts create anti-inflammatory proteins. So now that we know our thoughts actually have the ability to do this, do you know how many thoughts you have every single day? The average person has, get this, 60,000 thoughts daily. 60,000 thoughts every day. 60,000. And it's estimated that 90% of those thoughts are the same thoughts from yesterday, and 85% of them are negative thoughts: hate, anger, resentment. And if your thinking is thinking, your dreams, they're a shrinking. So if we have 60,000 thoughts a day, and those thoughts actually could produce inflammation or anti-inflammation, that means you're the most important person you'll speak to today. That means you're the most influential person you'll ever speak to. You have 60,000 opportunities every day to put your body in a healing state, right? So when you think about this, your thoughts, wait, your beliefs, your beliefs create your thoughts. Oh, the camera's kind of dark. Huh? Let me fix this for you. Hold on a second. Here we go. Is that better for I think I fixed it. Your beliefs create your thoughts. Your thoughts create your action slash habits. That creates your results, and your results create your destiny. What you believe creates the thoughts you think. What you think creates your actions and habits. Your habits create your results. Your results create your destiny. But there's something that I missed. Who knows what I missed here? What happens before all that? What happens before all that? What did I just miss? What's the first step here? Hmm. Above all, your environment determines all of that. Your environment determines your beliefs. Your beliefs determine your thoughts. Your thoughts determine your actions and habits. Your actions and habits determine your results, and your results determine your destiny. That means we got to clean up our environment. Neville Goddard said, "We are only limited by weakness of attention and poverty of imagination." One of the most important things you can do this year is to clean up your environment. Watching the news is a bad way to create bad beliefs and habits and thoughts, etc. So by swapping out the news and opening up a book, you change your environment. That's the point I'm trying to make here. And number five, get out of that victim mentality and start to become the victor. You're the master of your destiny. You're not the victim of your history. You're the victor of your destiny. You're the master. You are the captain of your ship. I don't care what anybody else tells you. Um, Everything else is all BS. You're not a victim. You're the master. All right, who wants the bonus tip here? I will, Veronica. You got it. I'm going to share with you now. Example, keto meal plans for weight loss. I'm going to give you two options for breakfast, two options for dinner, two options for lunch. Choose one of the two. Ready for this? Let me know. Actually, before I get into that, I just thought about something. I got to share it. I was not going to share it because sometimes this might trigger some people, but you know what? I'm going to share it. There was a study, on the topic of being a victim and how we live in a society where our environment is trying to make us the victims, trying to make you the victim. We live in this society nowadays, unfortunately. And there was a study, what was it called? I think it was called the Framingham Scar Experiment. What they did, they told individuals, we're gonna do a job interview. in the job interview, we're going to see if your visual appearance causes discrimination, causes victimhood. Oh, I moved it. Causes victimhood by your facial disfiguration. So we're going to artificially put facial disfigurations on your face, so scars and different things. And I want you to pay attention. You're telling these people, I want you to pay attention to in the interview if you're discriminated and you're a victim because of the way you look. They put them into the makeup room, put all this facial disfiguration, put these scars on them, and they said, oh, they showed them in the mirror what they looked like, and they said, oh, we got to do a little bit more work with you before we put you into the job interview, right? So in the job, before they get into the job interview, what they end up doing is they actually removed all of the facial disfiguration, all the scars, not the people knowing it. They still think they're going into the interview with the facial disfiguration. They're going to pay attention to the person interviewing them, discriminated against the person interviewing them, don't know about the experiment. Keep that in mind. So what happens? They do the interview, they come out, and then they get feedback from these individuals. Were you discriminated against? Were you a victim because of the way you look, because of your facial configurations, because of your scars? And all of them said, yes, they discriminated against me. They treated me this way, and I was the victim because of the way I looked. And even though they had no scars, they removed all of it because they went into that meeting with a victim mindset. And they found every little thing, even though it was not there, to prove their point. When you have a victim mindset, it is not good for you. It is not good for society. Unfortunately, we live in a society where it's easy for us to become the victim. But Tony Robbins said there is no such thing as victims, only volunteers. Here are the meal plans. Breakfast. Choose one. Eggs cooked. Five sunny side runny eggs. The runnier, the better. Keep in mind, the runnier, the better. Half an avocado with arugula, cooked in avocado oil or butter or ghee, sprinkled with 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast. That is one option. I like nutritional yeast because of the B vitamins in it, fat-soluble B vitamins. Option 2, or you could kind of go back and forth different days, a fatty keto smoothie with coconut milk, water, avocado, grass-fed collagen protein powder, organic raw walnut butter, or macadamia nut butter, or peanut nut butter. Either one works. You're welcome, Lana. Good to see your beautiful face. Dr. Kiltz, good to see you, man. Happy New Year. Second option, lunch. Everybody looks, I see people are excited about lunch. Second option is a fatty salad. Now, this is if you're not doing carnivore, if you tolerate green leafy vegetables, do the fatty salad. But I personally don't like that as an option. I tend to stay away from green leafy vegetables. So it depends on the health of your gut. You process it, so keep that in mind. You can just do steak and eggs, by the way. That's great. But fatty salad with a whole bunch of green leafy vegetables, extra virgin olive oil, raw macadamia nuts, black pepper, and then add some protein. Protein is very important here. So grass-fed beef, wild salmon, etc. Or spaghetti squash with free-range chicken, macadamia nuts drizzled with extra virgin olive oil. Excuse me. Dinner. This depends on how metabolically healthy you are. Some people cannot have half a sweet potato; it'll knock you out of ketosis. But I can, and I can be in ketosis. So it depends on your metabolism. But you have that with Brussels sprouts if you tolerate that. Chicken with the skin on, or even better, grass-fed steak, sautéed arugula with butter, Brussels sprouts with butter on top. Sounds pretty good, right? Sounds pretty good. Those are examples there. Look, I would love to teach you for 5 days next week, January 8th, in our free 5-day keto challenge. Dr. Eric Berg, Cynthia Thurlow, and Lena Nazari, Coach Becky Niles, Jonathan Shane. Join us. It's going to be incredible. We have $20,000 worth of prizes to give away. We'll see you on there. Go to ketocampchallenge.com. I hope this is beneficial today. If you missed this and you want to watch the replay, the full replay will be on my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/ketocamp. Camp is spelled with a K. So I hope to see you on there. I hope this is beneficial for you. I had a lot of fun teaching this. This will be saved on YouTube. In a few minutes, I gotta leave because I'm headed to my acupuncture appointment today. Just looking at some comments here on Instagram. Yeah, and like Alina is correct. Tell your friends to join us. Tell your family members to join us. It's gonna be incredible. If you really want a master class about keto, carnivore, fasting, and all things metabolic health, ketocampchallenge.com. I would love to see you on there. January 8th, January 12th. We're doing a special live stream actually this Saturday at January 6th in the private Facebook group, me and Alina, to give you more details about your challenge. So I hope to see you on there, which is ketocampchallenge.com. Oh, my sound is very undermodulated. Is that true, Alina? Because I'm looking at the soundboard and it's showing me perfect sound here. Somebody else give me some feedback here. Is my sound low? Is it undermodulated, as David says? I could fix that. I could definitely put it back up. And it's showing on my soundboard that it's at an optimal level there. No. Okay. David says no here on TikTok. Thanks, David. Good to see you, Jordan. Sound has been cutting in and out? Really? Why is it still doing that? Some people are saying good. Some people are saying cutting in and out. Okay. We'll figure out what's going on here. I'm going to watch the replay and figure it out. I got to run though. Happy, healthy New Year to you all. Some are saying it's perfect here. I have to run. Have an incredible New Year. And Laura, good to see you on here as well. I'll see you all on the Keto Challenge next week. Love and appreciate you all. Have an incredible day. Happy, healthy New Year. Prosperous New Year to you all. Hope this is beneficial. You can watch the replay on YouTube, youtube.com.